pull ahead in the first half, and early in the second they were able to come back. But it just seemed like your team was able to play real freely. What has been the difference that you've seen in the team recently that has your team playing so well at this point?
I think they're hitting their stride, their second win, so to speak. I think, you got to understand, man, we got 10 new dudes. So basketball is a game of chemistry and synergy, right? Like, I got to know you well enough to know everything about you, when to give you the basketball, just when to throw it, when to pass it, when not to. And so you try to work the kinks out doing non-conference in practice. And then around this time, I always say around Martin Luther King's birthday is when you start to see a team for who they actually are. So not only is it his birthday, but it's kind of like a team's birthday too, in terms of exposing them for who they really are. And I just think, Fred and JD, they've been here, and you can kind of tell, they're not new. They're roommates, they're best buddies, right? And you can see that connection with them. We got to get Po Boy going a little bit more, and I got to do a better job of like inserting the bench and finding some more guys that can come in and contribute off the bench. But overall, I just think what you're seeing is them, a collective group coming together. And when you have guards that can play that way, it makes the game, makes me look like I'm coaching, right? And I ain't doing nothing.
Y'all were tied 40-40 a couple minutes into the second half. Y'all scored them, I think, in the first half, 33-14. What do you think flipped for them after kind of losing the lead that they had?
Yeah, it's a game of runs. Again, with so many new guys, they don't understand conference tension and friction. So you're going to fight against that tension. And so teams are not going to quit. They're not going to bow out. You got to knock them out, right? And so it ain't just because you won a couple of rounds, they're going to let you win by decision. So I think we got up 10, but they're Meac champions. They're going to come back and they're going to fight, which was good for our guys because, part of this is any boxing match, you got to be able not only to deliver a punch, but you got to be able to take one. So it showed that we took some, but we were able to get back off the canvas and, throw some haymakers and end the game out. I hate to use the boxing analogies, but that's pretty much how I went. And I told them, look, you got to be grown. It's a game of runs. I know y'all hear that all the time, but, we're going to go on ours. They're going to go on theirs. But we got to finish this game, in a tough manner. So I was proud of them.
To keep up with the boxing analogies, it seems like Fred kind of threw a few more haymakers when it was necessary. Maybe you needed a couple of clutch buckets. What did you see from him this afternoon?
That's what he does, right? Like he's a small guy with a big heart, right? You can't measure his heart, and he has this chip on his shoulder because he's been small all of his life, right? I was like, they just asked me, I was like, look, he wasn't 6'3" and then he shrunk. Like, nah, he's been that way all his life, and when you're that way and you're succeeding at this level, that means you got a heart and you got a chip about yourself and you really believe in yourself. So he believes. So some of those shots he makes, I hear the crowd going, ooh, ah, but he does that all the time in practice, right? And so it's good for him. He's asserted himself as our leader when we need a bucket. We're going to the smallest guy in the gym, and so we just kind of clearing out. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. My son loves him, actually, because I think they're about the same size, but he's doing an outstanding job. I played him 40 minutes tonight. That's probably a little bit more than I expected, but man, he's rolling with the punches. I'm proud of him.
Within that second half, we talked about the intensity in the boxing match, but the physicality stepped up way much.
Yeah.
Defense and rebound became so important. What did your team learn in the first Meac opener, your first Meac win?
That every game is going to be about how tough you are. Not only physically, but mentally, right? And, I used the analogy, it was 8 dogs chasing one bone, right? And when you started, I don't know if y'all ever seen 8 dogs trying to get one bone, but they just throwing dirt on each other. They just basically killing each other to get that one bone. And that's what we're trying to do, right? And so you talk about conference and you warn them about conference and you show them film about conference, but it's nothing like going out here getting in the trenches and in battle, right? And all of our students weren't quite back yet, so you couldn't really feel the entire electricity of the crowd, but when we go on the road, we're going to feel it, right? And so you're going to have to stand on your square, man, and just be mentally and physically tough at all times, and that's something that we preach.
Playing Fred 40 minutes tonight, like you already mentioned, a few times we saw him just trying to take over and take some shots. As a coach for you, do you ever have to dial him back, or do you just have full confidence that?
Nah, I told him I'd rather say whoa than sick him, right? I played this game. I'm on that wall, but not because I passed the ball a lot, right? You go back in the archive, you ain't seeing a bunch of assists. Like, so you got to have the killer mentality to do it. So as a coach, I know what it looks like, I know what it feels like, and I try to give my guards that same liberty and freedom for them to be their best, right? And sometimes it ain't gonna work out, and then sometimes you're like, man, what the hell are you doing? But then when it go in, it looks good. So shout out to Fred, he was phenomenal.
Bouncing off of that, you had 8 guys play today, a little bit of a shorter rotation, smaller rotation. Was that intentional, or was that just kind of the way this game went?
It was kind of how it went, right? You know, we got so many new guys, and I'm like, when is the light bulb gonna go off for you and you and you? Like, my man, we're telling you the same thing we told you in August. So, you know, I just told them this is a matter of trust. Like, I coach from a trustworthy position. I can't have you go out there and just say my bad, right? Because that my bad may be 6 points, right? And those 6 points can be a deciding factor. You know, it's the unfortunate thing about having so many new guys. All of them are learning on the fly, and you don't know when the light bulb is going to go off for them. So you got to kind of play them in spurts. But the guys that's been here, who understands the system, like Timmy's a walk-on, and he come in here, you wouldn't know it because he been here, he can execute the system. They're unfamiliar with the system, and so we're trying to get them like, come on, hurry up, bro, hurry up. And so we got to do a better job of coaching it, maybe watch a little more film. You know, I'm exhausting all options, but I'm just trying to make these guys better, and we're going to need them down the stretch because we're going to need to play more than 4 guys, and we can't play these guys 40 and 35 minutes.
Is there a chance that watching this game from the bench could help the light bulb go off today, seeing what's possible in Meac play, the physicality, maybe the need for more bodies come off the bench, maybe like, oh shoot, I gotta get it together?
Theoretically, yeah, but this generation thinks a little bit different. They like, right? They've seen a multitude of games, and it starts in practice. I'm like, yo, you coming out here, your energy is low in practice. We can't even hear you in an empty gym. So I can't trust you to put you in this gym because I know what it takes to get out of here with the victory, right? And so it takes dogs, and they're not understanding that. Hopefully that light bulb will go off, and, you know, again, they got one more week. What is it, 16 games right now, including 2 scrimmages? So 18 games. I don't want to say you are who you are, but you're getting close to who you are, right? And so we judge every man by his consistent pattern of behaviors in practice on an everyday basis. And so we're going to try to insert these guys around, but, you know, around the country during conference time, they start cutting their rotations anyway. So we just got to steal some minutes. Keyshawn Porter, we got to find him some more minutes because athletically and physically, he can go out there and compete. He just has to understand what we're trying to do and grasp the concept. But not only that, we got to get some guys, you know, Devin Gorton, you know, he suffered an injury. You know, I guess it was bumps and bruises associated with the game. I think he's getting evaluated right now at this current moment. But he's our heart and soul, so he goes out. So now someone else is going to have to step up. So it's going to be next man up mentality. And so we'll focus and come back and get ready tomorrow.
Yeah. JD, Jadarius Harris, what, like, he's 9 for 13 tonight on the floor. Just playing alongside Fred Cleveland. Do you see places where sometimes he may play better with Fred, or sometimes, you know, he may be the 6th man? I see you bring him in as a 6th man scorer sometimes. Where do you think he fits in best at? Or do you think he just
Yeah, he's going to be a starter and a finisher for us. You know, it's been tough for him and Fred, you know, because it was really emotional before the game. I don't know if you guys saw the intro video, but we had a piece on Devin in there. And seeing him on the big screen, that hit. And so I looked, and I'm wiping my tears, and JD wiping his tears. I was like, whoa, I ain't think it would, you know, wow. But it was Devin's way of looking down on us. And they were best friends. Like Devin, Fred, and JD, like they were super, super close. And now JD is wearing Devin's number. And I told JD before the season, but when he made the decision to wear his number, I said, listen, man, I want to talk to you, and I'm going to say something to you, and it may sting, but I want you to hear me out. I said, I don't want you to wear that jersey to honor him, because you don't have to wear his number to honor him. I don't want you to wear that jersey just because that was my homeboy and you wearing this number. I said, what happened to Devin happened to my best friend when I was young. was 14 years old, and I don't know if y'all remember the Hank Gather story, but my best friend Vic Harris collapsed just like Hank Gathers and passed away on the floor. They were able to bring him back to life, but he was no longer able to play basketball. So the following year in high school, Vic was number 22, and I decided to wear his number. And before I put the number on, he said, listen, let me tell you something. Don't wear this number if you're not going to do what I was going to do in this. He said, I love you, you my little brother, but you're playing for 2 if you put this jersey on. And for him to be 15 and me 14, that was some heavy conversation for us. I was like, no, let's just talk about girls and lollipop. Like, that's heavy. And so I told JD the same thing. I said, when you put that number on, you're playing for 2, right? And you ain't got to do that. But if you put that on, understand Derek Butts and Tasha Butts, his mom and dad, is watching. And when they watching and seeing 52, they're thinking about their son. So now you got to give a little more than what you normally give, right? And it's because you're playing for 2, and that's the spirit of it. Now, I know it's heavy, but you don't have to wear it if you don't want to go down there, because that ain't for everyone. And so he decided to keep the number. And I think it's made him a better person and a better basketball player.
Talking about you guys opening up tonight versus Howard, can you talk about how you keep them level-headed with Norfolk State coming in Monday?
Oh, we always humble. Like, wait till I watch this film. You think we lost by 25 points. Like, so, yeah, level-headed, yeah, that's what I do. Mr. LeVelle-headed, level motion, that's what they call me. Like, nah, so we going to digest, and they're going to enjoy this for, 20 hours, and tomorrow when we come back in here, we're going to prepare the same way for any opponent that's coming down into our arena. So we're going to find it. We're going to, this generation loves positive reinforcement. But you want positive reinforcement, do something positive. If not, it's negative reinforcement. I'm going to reinforce what I see on that tape, and that's just what it is. I'm a realist, and that's the standard this program has held everyone to, and no one is going to be any different.